Hello everybody and welcome to the Art of Killing. Today we'll be learning about trapping. After this video you should be able to understand how to effectively play the trapper to help secure enough points to constitute a win in most of your matches. So let's start with understanding what we consider a win in Dead by Daylight. To win a match in Dead by Daylight is to earn a pip. Pips are little tally marks that increase your rank when collecting the proper amount. To gain a pip, you must earn 10,000 points among 4 different categories. 5,000 points will be counted at max per category towards our goal. These categories for killers are Brutality, Deviousness, Hunter, and Sacrifice. Brutality is earned through attacking players and breaking barricades. Deviousness is obtained through the use of your secondary weapon, in this case, traps. Hunter is obtained by finding and chasing survivors, and finally the Sacrifice is gained through hooking and successfully sacrificing those survivors. Before the game begins, we should consider our loadout and what we can do with what we have. I'm going to assume we're not all level 50 trappers with teachable perks from all killers. Even if you have 1 or 2 worthwhile perks, we can still scrounge something up to make the best of a poor situation. The trapper's unique abilities are Agitation, Brutal Strength, and Unnerving Presence. Other very useful perks usable at low ranks is Deerstalker and Iron Grasp. Having just rank 1 of any of these should be helpful enough to score some good points. For perks in our loadout, in no particular order, we want to be able to secure hooking our survivors. So having Agitation or Iron Grasp in our first slot will allow successful transportation to a hook, even if hooks are being sabotaged. One or the other works, you do not need to combine them. Deerstalker is also a wonderful perk by allowing you to leave survivors on the ground and keep tracking them. If you are able to pick this perk up, consider it as a staple for the trapper, as it is wondrous to knock someone down and continue chasing someone else while keeping track of a prior knockdown. I personally wouldn't recommend Unnerving Presence too much, as increasing the chance for skill checks can be beneficial to a good survivor, as it can hinder new players. Distressing is a good replacement for this perk, as it creates larger terror radius, informing survivors that you are nearby. This may sound a bit backwards, but I'll explain in further detail later. Finally, Brutal Strength is a decent pickup to help quickly bust through barricades. Some survivors won't expect you to destroy them so quickly, and it can make help cleaning up a mess a bit easier. And when gaining some add-ons, some useful pickups are Strong Coil Spring and Trapper Gloves. Combining these 2 add-ons allows you to place traps faster and hold survivors in place for longer. These are common add-ons that work well in any situation, and you only have to pick them up with typically 3,000 blood points, and they're likely on your blood web for most every level. The higher level add-ons you want to be sure to grab are the 4 Coil Spring Kit and the Honing Stone. 4 Coil Spring Kit is an upgraded version of the Strong Coil Spring, and the Honing Stone puts survivors instantly in a dying state after being trapped. This is very helpful for keeping them in place, and it goes well with Deerstalker. So now we're going to talk about setting traps. To make sure we secure enough points, we first need to assure that we're using our secondary weapon traps to gain deviousness points. Once a game begins, we start with a trap, and there are several spread across the map. With our trap, it is important that we trap key locations without being too obvious about it. The best areas to trap are typically grassy locations where the survivors can't see clearly. If we were to trap a window or barricade an area without grass, it is likely the survivors can spot it and disarm the trap. This will waste our time and grant them points. Attempt to find windows with grass or common locations that survivors typically run through. However, feel free to trap any location if you feel you can catch something. If you're new to Trapper, or the game in general, it is important to play your first few rounds exploring and learning the maps. There are 4 maps in total, and finding key locations can be a major help in setting proper traps. Simply play the game and get used to the surroundings, whether you win or lose. Don't worry too much about your rank. It helps even more if you play Survivor, as you can find trap locations that you commonly run through. As a good starting location, it is smart to typically trap windows near the basement or any locations where a survivor can run in circles for long periods of time. The less time you waste chasing, the more likely you're able to catch multiple survivors. Remember that you don't want to walk around setting up traps all game either. Even though finding these trapping locations is important and trapping them, we'll still have to disrupt the survivors and stop them from fixing generators. To do this, we'll have to make a path where we also check generators and set up traps while walking in between. This is where distressing comes in handy. Having a larger terror radius can cause some survivors to freak out when they hear that heartbeat. This can at times cause them to stop repairing and look for you. This buys you time even though they'll be preemptively hiding. Take this extra time to trap and just make sure that you are searching the areas near the generators thoroughly when they are active. So now we're on to chasing survivors. When finding a survivor, giving chase grants hunter points. Consider this while making chase. As you follow them around, you're scoring more hunter points and they're scoring more boldness points. If you feel you need more hunter points, try to just allow the survivor to survive for longer, but make sure you secure that knockdown before they get to a safe location. Nothing worse than scoring a few hunter points only to lose out on all the sacrificing points. Just as a heads up, holding down the attack button changes the attack from a standard attack to a lunge. This allows the attack to land at a greater distance and secure some of those tricky window hits. Keep in mind there are very few infinite juke locations. Even though it seems Survivor can run endlessly, there is always hope. If they're giving you the loop, place a trap at their favorite window. They might get away for now, but they won't be able to do that again. Be wary as they know where this trap is, so keep an eye on the location as they might return to create a safe haven for themselves. Also, as a side note, don't be afraid to go through a window yourself if the area that goes around the window is long enough. It's not a good idea to waste your time walking the long way if you could just take a shorter way for a slight slowdown. When chasing, focus on cutting them off rather than following their every movement. You may be faster than they are, however, they have tools to slow you down, such as barricades. Being able to outsmart them is key. Remember that the direction you are facing creates a red light. They can see this through walls and on the ground to give away your location. People use it to signify which direction you are walking. Sometimes it can be sneaky for you to walk backwards and appear around the corner without them noticing. Now we're on to a very important topic as a ton of killers tend to mess up. To gain sacrificing points, we get this through two sources. First, hooking the survivor grants 200 points and successfully sacrificing them grants 1,250. My first tip is to not camp. I know how tempting this can be as you want to make sure you kill them, however sitting at this location does you no good. Once they're on the hook, there are no more points to obtain other than just the successful sacrifice. Camping is not worth the points. And I'm not saying this to stop people from camping, I'm saying this to get you as many points as possible. If you sit there waiting for them to be successfully sacrificed while you don't let their allies save them, you are letting them get all the other generators. If it was a team in the beginning of the game, and let's say you took somebody down immediately and you hooked them and you stayed there during the entire time that they were dying, every survivor can get one generator, and that's 3 generators immediately out of 5, leaving you with 2 to hunt down. If you were to kill another person and then hook them, the 2 remaining survivors have plenty of time to get the last 2 generators and then leave, to which you have made very minimal points taking down 2 people and you will not score your 10,000. Realistically, you want them to save their ally. When they save their ally, you can rehook them for another 200 points if you knock them down. Essentially, when you hook somebody, go ahead and walk away and begin your search for the next person. Listen for the noise to confirm they saved their ally, then return to give chase. If you chase them again, you score another 200 points off the same survivor just from hooking, and that does not include the brutality points you get for knocking them down, the deviousness points you might have scored while they were trying to untrap their ally, or even the hunter points for finding another survivor. Each time you hook the same person, their overall status will drop. Every survivor has 3 hook statuses: full, half, and death. When first hooked, it will put them at full. If they're to get off before they hit 50% health, then placing them back on the hook will drop them to half. That will then put them in the struggle mode where they struggle against the entity. If they're rescued again and you rehook them, they will die instantly. This grants you a total of 600 points for hooking the same person and 1,250 points for the successful sacrifice. This is important to consider as we're attempting to hook them as much as possible to secure as many points as possible. If we can't kill them all in a single game, hooking the same person several times can make up for those missing points. And as a trapper, we're able to trap the foot of the hooked survivor as well. Don't fret, as this isn't a requirement, but it does help to score those deviousness points. However, let's get a bit more devious. Try trapping nearby locations in grass and windows that the survivors will try to run away through after saving their ally. This can cause a false sense of security when you're not trapping their feet as they try to run away from you. There's a lot more to cover when it comes to being a killer, but that should be good enough to start for trappers that are beginning the game. So go on, get out there and start trapping. If this guide was of any use to you, please leave me a like and share this with your friends. If you want any more advice or want to watch other Dead by Daylight videos, feel free to check out my channel and playlists as I upload videos every day. Not a Dead by Daylight, but I do upload videos every day of games in general. But I do also have a link to my other Dead by Daylight guides and videos in the description down below. Share, comment, and subscribe, and as always, good game!